You win some, you lose some. It's like placing a bet. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games, Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment of winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you. Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet. Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice. Register on msport.com. Bet with msport multiple plus option. 100 more. You still get paid. Increase your chances of winning today. Join msport live chat. Connect with punters across Africa. Start winning. Winning can be easy. Claim free goal bonus anytime a goal. Msport. Register on msport.com.
1-1 then in the east of London between West Ham and Liverpool. So much to discuss. Let's get straight to the start. Inside 3.5 minutes. Any issue with anything on Alisson there for you, mate?
No, I'm more than happy for that to be a goal. To be honest, sometimes the goalkeepers are overprotected. I think O'Connor does challenge Alisson, but he's come off the near post and he started to move backwards, and I don't think it's deliberate. He has to put his arms in the air to challenge. I know Antonio is sort of blocking him behind, but that's a ploy that you should be trying to gain an advantage of, and I'm all right with that. I think it should have been, once it went in, I was happy for it to be given.
Okay, let's see what Dermot Gallagher thinks, the former Premier League referee, because Stuart Atwell in VAR had a close look at it. You in agreement, sir, Dermot?
I am. I'm in Macca's camp personally. I think the goalkeeper's not strong enough. I think it's quite refreshing. This is the third incident like this we've seen this season. He goes to the goal, so it's shown a bit of consistency with the referees not backing the goalkeeper. As we're accused of sometimes.
Now, there might not be such agreement on the next thing I'm going to show, which is Aaron Cresswell's tackle on Jordan Henderson. Tim, what was your first impression of this?
Red card.
I still think it's a red card now. I think Cresswell knows what he's doing. He's going to win the ball, but he knows there's a chance he can leave a bit on Jordan Henderson exactly the way he does. If he was to freeze that, if they slow that down, they show the VAR, they freeze it like they do. We know if they freeze, we'll talk about it all the time. If they freeze anything, it always looks worse. So why show them it? 2-footed, off the floor, red card. Dermot?
I think the referee the whistle give a yellow card straight away, Stephen. We wouldn't have been trying to VAR.
Didn't even give a free kick though.
He didn't, and I think that's why we discussed it now, Steve, to be honest.
Is that because he doesn't touch him? Because I would say it's still dangerous.
It's not a nice tackle, you're not right to know that. But I think he hasn't made the contact that Holgate made earlier, Holgate's still straight.
Okay, all right.
You see Jordan Henderson actually.
Okay. Good evening to all of you. Happy Sunday to all of you. like I said before, our classes have been shifted to about 6:30. Um, Good evening, Mr. Modi Osaige Osemige. Happy Sunday to you, Kev Khalifa. Um, so, good evening to all of you. I'll be I'll just pause, mute. Hope I'm audible enough. All my Sundays have been a bit tied up, and I traveled. I just came back from Ibadan, so I'm a bit tired. But I'll just run through some topics. Uh, Welcome back, Kev Khalifa. I'll just run through some topics right now. So a couple of my friends sent two separate videos. A couple of my friends sent two separate videos. One of the video was done yesterday, and one of my Urobo brother James Homo sent me a video that was done where uh, I was being backlashed basically by Monkey Face and on YouTube. He sent me the video. I haven't seen the video, but I think I only watched about a minute because I was in a ceremony. I was in a ceremony, and the place was a bit noisy. So I've not been able to get the full grasp of the video. And there was another video that some persons extracted from my former videos. I think I did a video on, and all right, people are trying to. There was a particular video I did when I was trying to give answers to what are the meanings of the names of the Obas of Benin. All right, what are the meanings? And I had mentioned that basically a lot of the names of the Obas of Benin do not have meanings in Edo language. So some persons, as usual, took that part of my video and said that it therefore means that the names of the Obas of Benin um, had meanings in Yoruba language or Shekiri language. I can't really remember. But they were trying to prove fallaciously that the names of the Obas of Benin um, don't have meanings in Edo, but have meanings in Yoruba. All right. I was on a live program. I'm having um, okay. I was on a live program yesterday. I started the live program 9 p.m. and I rounded up about 1 o'clock, early hours of this morning. It was almost 4 hours. It was really, really very exciting. It's a platform that I've been invited over a lot of months. I've not had time to join them, but I eventually joined them yesterday, and it was really, really amazing. And so I'm going to be doing more of my talking on that platform now. It's called Clubhouse. It's like a radio. Everybody gets to talk Like I'm not the only person who has, like I'm the only person talking now. Everybody can talk. All right. So it's really, really, really very interactive. I had I had the privilege of discussing some very issues with our people and very interacting. So in the course in the course of that, in the clubhouse, you join Edo Vibes. All right. So I was even made an administrator yesterday so that I can always come in. And it's funny enough, my mentor was also there yesterday, Professor Uyila Waswanlele, and some of the topics that were not really too clear that I couldn't really answer. I'm glad Professor Uyila Waswanlele was able to um, provide answers to it. And basically, that some of the answers that Professor Yula Waswanlele provided answers to, some of the questions that he provided answers to. It's sort of what I want to use in providing answers to what I've been accused of doing by saying that I said that Edo 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 yeah, yeah, tired, that some of the meanings, some of the names of the Obas of Benin do not. I said that's what I said. All right, I'm not saying that's what I said. That's what I actually said. That when I said some of the names of the Obas of Benin really do not have meaning in a Edo language or Edo language. I said so, and if you had followed me in that live program, I give you the reasons why I said so. It's not supposed to even have a meaning in the first place because those names are not human, they are not earthly. Those names are spiritually guided. Um, those names are chosen not by human perspective. Those names are chosen by the guardianship of the ancestors, and it's beyond the earthly realm. Those names are beyond the earthly realm. So it is only very okay, as it has always been, for Yorubas or Igbos to find meanings where there are no meanings. All right. So they try now. They try. One of the questions I was asked yesterday during the program by one of our Ensan brother Hidiame, he said the question was the Yoruba said that they are the owner of Olokun. That Olokun is a Yoruba word, all right, and it's not Benin. So the deity came from Yoruba, and I was like, it's not even possible because the preface of Okun, yeah, in both Edo and Yoruba language, Okun means the same thing, river body, the sea. Edo to Okun. I think it means the same thing in Yoruba too. All right, but the preface, which is Ole, Olokun, Oliha, Oleran, Olize, Oleka, it's the preface. It's Benin. It's Edo. All right, Olokun. The preface of of the name Olokun, it's Benin, so it couldn't have been Yoruba. And understanding what Olokun means to the Yoruba is different from what Olokun means to we the Edo people. First, Olokun is a female deity, which was classified as to being the wife of Oduduwa. All right, but in Benin, Olokun is not a deity. First, Olokun is a male, and Olokun is a divinity. It's not a deity; it's a divinity. In the Benin religion, you have you have God the Father. All right, just you have God. Osano doesn't represent. We have the Trinity. The Trinity of our Benin religion anchors on three things. You have God, Osano doesn't being the God. Then you have Olokun being the spirit, and you have Oba being the son. So it is the Trinity of our religion. Sanodazi representing God, Olokun representing the spirit of God, and why the representative, like the physical representative of God on earth, is the Oba. That's the trinity of the religion of the Benin people. So these were some of the classes of talk that we had, and for us, if we understand the roots, the root, how do I put it? The roots of uh, it's called the proto language of the Edo people, of the Yoruba people, and the Igbo people are the same. In other words, the Yoruba language came from a particular language. The Edo language came from a particular language. The Igbo language came from a particular language, and that language is called the Kwa language. All right, basically because these three ethnic groups have the same proto Kwa language roots. They share some words that have semblances or that are the same. All right, we all have the same language roots. All right, let me use the word roots. Ekenedoke Zoladia. The language that Edo came from is the same language that the Yoruba came from. It's the same language that the Igbo came from. So because we have the same language roots, there are words that appears both in Yoruba, Edo, and Igbo. So, but what the Yoruba has over the time made us believe is that those words that appear both in Edo and Yoruba, they will tell you that they own it. All right, we have to be psychologically and intellectually sound. Those words that appear both in Edo and Yoruba does not belong to Yoruba. All right, does not. Edo owns it as much as Yoruba owns it. I have already established that we have the same root language called the Kwa language. So that makes it's just like Okoro in Igbo, Oko in Benin. Several times I've heard when Igbo people have said that they own Okoro, they don't own Okoro. They don't own Okoro. And most especially some of these words have different meanings entirely. So let's put all of these things into consideration. So Okun is not a Yoruba word. It has meaning in Yoruba. It has meaning in Edo. All right. It's as much as Yoruba, as much as Edo, because there were words. There might have been words that we borrowed from ourselves, but there were also words that naturally came with our variant languages about 6,000 years ago. About 6,000 years ago. So I wanted to clarify that. But coming back to what I was saying earlier on about what was I talking about? About those meanings of Obas of Benin does not have meaning. I've seen a lot of historians, I've seen a lot of people have tried to give meanings to these names. All right. It is an exercise in futility. It does not work that way because most of these words were not chosen. These words were not chosen by the crown princes. These words were given by the ancestors. It's not where the system might have been able to have created. There are some exceptions to these. I feel that some Obas of Benin had preempted. They had wanted to be known as this name. And so eventually that is what they chose. All right. Those ones had meanings in Benin. If it was already foreseen, all right. Like for example, Crown Prince Odionva, all right, when he was to be allowed to become the Oba of Benin, the chiefs had told him that he will come and repair, as a repairer, he will come and repair what he had destroyed during his first sojourn on earth. And he already had a pre-information of what he wants to do when he becomes the Oba. So he chose Adolo. All right. You understand? So he chose Adolo, exactly like what our brother David had just said. There is Ozigbo in Igbo and there's Ozigbo in. It doesn't mean that it's root languages. All right. Some could have been borrowed over the years, but some were not borrowed from ourselves. We both took it from the root, from our root language. We all, three of us, both took some of these words from our. It followed us from our root language. Some of these words are Kwa. It is neither Yoruba, Edo, or Igbo. Some of these words are Kwa language in its raw term. All right. So from the ones that we took from the Kwa, some the Yorubas took from the Kwa, some the Igbos took from the Kwa. So it was eventually these different ethnic groups evolved their languages. I'm using Yoruba. I know a lot of persons will say, which one? Is it Olokumi? Is it the Oyo? Whatever. But I'm just saying generally. Okay. So like I was saying about the Obas of Benin, some were preempted. Which people has the real Kwa language? No, the Kwa language evolved to a series of it's a group classifications. Like you could see some people speaks like the Bantu, like they are Bantu people and they have a language. There are still existence of Bantu people in um, in um, in Zambia, in the Democratic Republic of Congo. You still have the Bantu people that speaks Bantu, but basically because there's a Bantu people and a Bantu language. Some languages eventually evolved from the Bantu language. The Bantu language is also like it's also a root language like the Kwa, but the difference is they are no Kwa people. All right, it was classified. The I think what are they called? There's a name for the people who the language constructors were able to classify the the language of the Edo Yoruba and some other languages as a Kwa Negro language. All right, it's they don't have a people that originally spoke the Kwa. All right, but they were variants. The variants of the Kwa language is what you now have. So they are not. There are no people that speaks the original Kwa. All right, because we're classified on that because we're not bound to and some other African languages. All right, so we were classified as Kwa. So who really owns Ojo and Ajayi? That's what I have said. Some words could have been originally Edo words. Some words could have been originally Edo words. Some words could have been originally Yoruba words. And some words could have been originally the Kwa language. All right. So I'm not, if not because of the Yorubas are trying to claim all of these relationships that we have had with them, I'm sure that we'll not be having this conversation of Unhons Ajayi or Unhons Osoidi and all of that. And all of that, just like we'll not be having issues about who owns the word Oba and all of that. Okay, but because of their incessant claim of some of these words that could not have been theirs in the first place, when you share relationship, we can't deny that we shared quite a lot of relationship with the Yoruba people. All right. But what pisses me off in all of this relationship that we've had with Yoruba people basically is that what pisses me off is that all of the relationship that we have with Yoruba basically is that in all of these years of our relationship, it seems like the relationship was unilateral. All right. Benin's never learned anything from, the Yorubas never learned anything from Benin. There's nothing they have agreed on till this moment that they took from Benin that are not part of them. The only thing that they have said is that everything that Benin has, we took from them. I don't understand how people could be so self-centered historically that you have had a relationship with the people for hundreds of years. And in those hundreds of years that you've had this relationship with these people, all right, all that they have heard in recent times is that what the Edo people are, was taken from Yoruba. And we have never heard at what time of history the Yorubas have ever agreed that they learned anything from us. And the funny aspect, more than half of their entire land was under the control of the Benin people. Your half part of your present day land was under our control, and yet you did not learn anything from us. Everything we learned it from you. So it caught some of these things pisses me off generally, and that's why I don't just like that tribe. And when people say why, because of their deception mindedness. All right, you've had a relationship with the people for that long, and I have never heard any of them ever saying that this is what we learned from these people. The only thing is that this word is Yoruba, this Edo word is Yoruba, this Edo word is Yoruba, this deity na Yoruba get her, this divinity na Yoruba get her, una oba na we get her, una people na. And yet your people were under the control, half of your people were under the control of the Benin people for 400 years. And yet you people never learned anything from the Benin people. So some of these things could be very annoying because it's not possible that they didn't learn anything from us. All right? It's not possible. So at what time did they not learn anything from us? Anything that is common between us, and then get them. That one I'm sure. Anything that is common between us, and then get them. And I don't understand why. The same mindset with the Igbo people. Anything that is common between the Igbos and the Benin people, now Igbo people get them. But you guys were under our sovereignty for a lot of many years. So is there nothing at all that you people took from us that has now become part of you that was originally of us? You understand? So these are basic things that we should talk about. Like I was talking about the names of the Obas, and how can you, first and foremost, we understand the choosing, the ceremony that led, the circumstances that led to choosing of names. We understand the circumstances, all right? Owomika was a word that was made by the young prince. It has a meaning in Yoruba, all right, but it was corrupted to Eweka. What does Eweka mean? Eweka does not have a meaning in both Edo or Yoruba, all right, because the original form was Yoruba, Owomika, all right? Now, after that practice, it is also now originally after that circumstances, originally we had words like Ewedo. The name of one of the Obas was Ewedo. But before he became Oba Ewedo, he had a name. What was his name again? Prince Efabo, Crown Prince Efabo. All right. or I didn't pronounce Efabo, Efa or Efabo. It's a pure Benin Edo word, all right? Now, but when he was about to choose, he chose what the ancestors had chosen from him, Ewedo. Ewedo had no meaning in Edo. Ewedo had no meaning in Edo. But because he created a system that was new to Benin, he created a prison system. The Benin's now named the prison that the Benin's now said Ewedo means prison. All right. Otherwise, it was a virgin name, a name that has no meaning. So subsequently, it has always been like that. All right. That it has always been like that. Um, every names that were chosen by the Obas of Benin were spiritually inclined, were spiritually chosen. So you don't expect them to have meanings. All right. A lot of, like I've said before, a lot of historians have tried, all right, to give meanings to these names. These names are not earthly. They're not Edo. They are spiritual. Except we understand the language of the ancestors. So those, I'm sure it's only the people that can be able to spiritually understand the meaning, because the meaning, the sources of their reign will define the name. All right. All right. We define the name. All right. So let's not, for the sake of what type of propagandas that these people will present, and start shying away from the truth. The truth is, what does Ahenzaye means? What does Akenzaye means? What does Akenboyi means? What does Ehengbuda means? What does Esigi means? All right. Then there are some that they were preempted, like EY, for example. It was preempted to be, he already had that it was a difficult time, and the whole difficulty has come to still. And instead, it was like, okay, oh, wow, that it has calmed down. So when he chose that name, all right, EY, because the whole situations have calmed down. All right, those are preempted names. There are exceptions. Any of the names that have meanings, it was preempted. It was there, and there are few of them, like or 7 there. It was preempted. All right, it was preempted. Adolo was preempted. Akenzwa was never preempted. Akenzwa was never preempted. Akenzwa is a spiritual name. It's not an Edo name. It's spiritual. Eweka, obviously, it's the only one that has its roots tied to Yoruba from the word Owomika. Then we have the likes of the Hemie. We have the likes of Wuhuahuae. These are technically spiritual Benin names that you can't give meanings to them, because they really don't have meaning in Edo language or in any other languages of the world, because they are spiritual, or probably the spiritual language. Exactly, organic. No, might not say exactly, because I don't know what you use organic cream, organic names. I don't know what you use organic names to me. Because I know now they use organic cream. They say not be bleaching cream, organic cream. So I don't know what you meant by that organic. I'm So basically, so we should stop trying to give meanings to some of these names of the Obas of Benin. A lot of these names, they don't have meaning in any language on planet Earth. So I hear that the Yoruba are trying to now give meaning to those people. Our mother will soon kill them. So they'll not sit down and start trying to analyze Edo Edo names in a bid to say that they get out. Clap for them. Martha also breaks some of their head. But anyway, they need chicken. Mm. Mm. So, mm, that's by the way. I needed to mm, Ile-Ife modernization reached. Ile-Ife modernization could have reached Benin Kingdom for separate reason. Ade Richard. First, Benin was already a civilized society that have had over 900 years. A call came through. Okay, what I'm saying is that okay, okay. Let me attend to Ade Richard. Ile-Ife couldn't have given modernization to Benin Kingdom. First, very funny, very funny set of people. First, the Benins have had 31 kings that have reigned for almost 900 years. And at the time the Ile-Ife Oromiyan history happened, the only king that the Ife people had recognized, not all those spiritual kings. I don't know. Sorry, calls are coming through, so I think I'm back now. So, a society that had 900 years of a structured administration or monarchical system, then a society that has had less than 50 years of kingship, basically, is now coming to a society that have had 900 years of kingship to rule them. It's just like Nigeria had its democracy or its independence in 1960. It's not telling America, is not saying that they will modernize America who had their independence in 1776. So that's the case. Even if the difference between Nigeria and America is about 200 and something years or 300 years maximum, then we're talking about the Benins were already having a system of governance for over 800 years before the Ife people had one. All right. Now you are not saying that Ile-Ife brought modernization to Benin Kingdom. Hmm? Hmm? Oga, they reason that matter very well now and come back and tell us. Repetition. All right. Okay, there there were many different eras. The only eras that you guys are trying to say that there were different eras of modernization. What modernizations actually happened in Ile-Ife? Ile-Ife is still um, is still very underdeveloped. I schooled in Ile-Ife. It's still like a village to date. So I haven't seen the grasp of modernization. So you will want to cite works of other historians, most especially Europeans now, that has quoted the kind of civilization that the Ife people have. When you talk about civilization, everybody talks about the Benin civilizations. All right? Everybody talks about the legacies of the Ogisos. It's visible. All right? The Adan Eben that you people are not claiming that is yours was created by one of the Ogisos. It's the legacies that have endured for over 2,000 years. We don't seem to see the legacies of that modernization that was in Ife before the time of Oduduwa modernization. Everybody knows that everything that has to do with the Ile Ife started, the history that is recognized, not the folklores or the folk tales that you people propagate, started from Oduduwa. So they are not anything beyond Oduduwa is folklores or folk tales that was probably started to be created by the figment of imaginations of some of the earliest Yoruba historians. All right, so that couldn't have been through. But I would Batala would have been the last. I would have Batala would have been the last king of Ile-Ife before Oduduwa, when Oduduwa was the one who founded Ife. I don't understand. I think you guys should go and get your story very right. All right. How could Obatala would have been the king before Oduduwa when Oduduwa is the progenitor of the Ife? Anyway. No, Obatala was not only the 97th king. Oh, okay, Oduduwa was born. Okay, now they listen now. This one said Oduduwa was born. Another one will say tomorrow that Oduduwa came from Mecca. The another one will come tomorrow and say Oduduwa fell from the sky. This one said Oduduwa was born. Okay, this is the first time they hear this one, huh? Okay, well. Who come body Oduduwa? Anyway. Those are Facebook propaganda. He should cite, tell this Ade, he should cite any Yoruba historian that chronicled. He should cite any Yoruba historian that chronicled that Oduduwa is the 97th king. Not only 97th king, he's 1,500 king of Ile-Ife. Anyway, we're going to leave all those people. you know, if I talk somebody I don't want these people to distract me. Now, the video that boy did yesterday, the only part I listened to was when he said, oh, okay, the progenitor means the present modernization. Ade Richards, please, you better run along. Don't crack me up. You better run along. Don't crack me up. You're really getting very funny. Okay, the progenitor means that it was in 900 AD that it started. That's what the progenitor means. Okay, all right. We'll just okay. We agree. Fine. The progenitor of Oduduwa is the 97th king of Ile-Ife. We know now. Well, write it down, 97th. All right. He was talking about that. He talked about that why is there no single institution in Edo State that is named after the Ogisos. I think that's what he said, that there is no institution that is named after the Ogisos, that the Caladoran story is a myth and there is nothing that is named after a Caladoran and all of that. Then I think someone called in, I was trying to educate him, that the first market, people have to know, the first market that was established here in Benin is Ogiso Market. All right? And it's not a difficult thing. The story is up there. Everyone knows the story, that the first market that was built or that was established in Benin Kingdom, or Igodomigodo as it was called then, was Ekio Gisho. Everybody knows the story. Ekio Gisho Kuruma, which was later changed to Agbado Market. It's not called Agbado Market. When I was growing up, we used to hear a lot of these amazing stories. I remember when that's how we used to talk. Aha Tohani. All right. All right. That's the first market. So Monkey Face is saying that there's no institution that is named after the Ogisos. All right. Well, to an extent is right, but to a larger extent is wrong. Because the first is that there was a market that was named after the Ogisos, and it was called Ogiso Market. And the original name of Ogbe, we have different Ogbe. The Ogbe where the seat of the Oba of Benin is was originally called Ogbo Gisho. We have words like Ogbe Ibuya and all of that. All right. Ogiso is in second. That was the second named for Ogiso. All right. What you don't understand, the Agbado market, the original name for the Agbado market, the first market in our entire land was called Ogiso Market. It was changed to Agbado Market, and in recent time, we also had another Ogiso Market that is now called the New Market. All right. So that means two markets have been named after the Ogisos. Then you have a lot of Ogiso streets, Ogiso avenues, Ogiso primary and secondary schools. There are a lot of it. Now, he was saying that just like the way that there are Obaiware primary school, why are there not like Ogiso A secondary school, that sort of a thing? And I was like, even in the canons of the Oba history, not all of the Obas of Benin are remembered by. It's not all of the Obas, maybe 50% of them could have been, or even less than 50% are the ones that places were named after. There are a lot of Obas of Benin that do not have a name of a street, do not have a name of a school, do not have a name of a quarter. I don't know whether you understand. Now, the difference is the stories of the Ogisos, the stories of the Ogisos are well into the past. People can only familiarize with, for me, if I'm the governor of Edo State, I'm going to name a lot of institutions after some of the Ogisos because I have a very strong historical background, most especially Ogiso A and my two favorite Ogiso A and Ogiso Odolige, most especially Odolige, my favorite of all the Ogisos. I'm going to name quite a lot of institutions or a very big institution after Ogiso Odolige because of what he represented, because I am history savvy. But most of the governance that we have had, if not all, do not really understand the history of the land. So they can only relate. All right? They can only relate with the Obas that their memory can recollect, not really that the Obas of the old or the Ogisos of the old. So you cannot really blame anybody for that. It's because we've not really had any Edo governor who is history savvy, like who is quite acquainted, who's probably an historian. When he said, okay, let me build a complex, okay, like if for example, now I want to build a security house, or like I want to create I want to create a sort of a security outfit. The first thing is I'm going to think back and look at, okay, which of the Obas was really, really a warlord? And I was like, Ogiso Odolige was one of the greatest of all the warrior kings of Benin. And I was like, okay, why can't we call these Edo security outfit Odelige warriors? All right. I have I have two companies registered. The first company is Warren. They were ancient guides of storytellers, the wisest people in the land. And the second one that I'm about to create is Anido. Anido was also a guild of tailors. All right. Why am I using Edo words? I'm using Edo words because I'm quite familiar with Edo words because of my background of knowing a little bit of my history. All right. So, and you can't blame people for that. And I think you also said that Ikaladera has a secondary school, has a primary school. Ikaladera secondary school is at Okada, its primary school is at Irwa. And in Benin, there's a song that has been passed from generations to generations that recognizes even a day was named after Ikaladera. And Ikaladera is not as if any day that the weather, there's a sun, the weather is so calm, it's not raining, it's not sunny, it's just calm. We call it a decaladera. All right. We call it a decaladera and all of that. So there, I don't know why people out of their imaginary ignorance now begin to assert some issues or propagate some fallacies that are not true. All right, I don't count some of these things as but I really wanted to talk about that because it seems like that's the only thing I heard. And also say that we're through that. I feel that some of the histories of the Ogisos have been really neglected by modern day Benin historians and our actions. No doubt about that. If I'm in a place of authority, I will find ways to glorify the legacies of the Ogisos, just like the legacies of the Obas have been lingering. But trying to understand that the Ogisos and the Obas are the same lines of kings, are the same lines of kings. But at least there were some very outstanding Ogisos, like Ogiso Arigo, who was more of like an economist, who was able to Ogiso Obioye, who was the father of Ogiso Arigo. Obioye had some financial crisis. Igo Obioye, everybody knows that story. Sorry, that parable. Igo Obioye or Igo Obioye. All right, who was the father of Arigo. So when Arigo came in, there was so much money in circulation that he needed to mop. There's a word that economists use. He needed to mop those excess money out of circulation. All right, out of circulation in Benin. So he devised a means, the Arigo formula, which a lot of economists, modern day economists now applies. We had intelligent minds, like if you want, Oba Ensoyen was also another very intelligent mind who created the banking system in Benin, Ogiso, sorry, Oba Ensoyen, and all of that. We can remember this. I can basically uh, give these people so much relevance because I'm quite acquainted with the story or the legacies that these people left behind. So all of our all of the govern all the governance of Edo State are not historians, and they really do not know some of the things that you and I know. All right, for you and I and the positions, there are some certain things, certain kings, certain Ogisos, certain Obas that we can remember based on what their legacies represented during their reigns. Uh, um, so these are about some of the things, and I wanted to quickly talk about. So that's why I titled it. There have been some misconceptions about my perceptions about things. I heard the last video I did when I was very pissed about some chiefs or some persons that chiefs who said a lot of things that was really, really angry, that I felt angered. And I heard some persons on my live video were calling people that, saying that I was insulting chiefs and all of that. Well, I don't know what they meant by that. I'm not I'm not going to apologize for that video, because I'm not going to apologize for that video. And I believe that one thing built the Benin society, and that thing is integrity and truth. All right, irrespective of those whose horse is God or a God, um, the truth was the greatest of all the elements that built Benin society. And I uphold the truth. I do not winch out anybody. I do not have any grudge against anybody. All right, I just have grudge against some archaic views of some of our people, some primordial sentiment, and that's what I spoke against. So I'm going to be apologizing for something that I know that they were really, 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 really very wrong of. All right, and a lot of our persons, like when I was in the clubhouse when I was doing the video, do you know a lot of our people are afraid to dress like a Benin man? Do you know a lot of our people are actually afraid to dress? So a guy, I think is the president of the Edo Association in South Africa, one Mr. Nosai Zodowa, he called me. You understand? He said that on the live program, he was asking the question, no, not call. He was asking the question that, is it permitted to wear a red cap, because they are doing their Edo Day in South Africa next month, December? Is it permitted to wear red cap, white cap? Yeah, are they not? Is the red cap not an abomination and all? This is a fear that these people have created in our minds, that we are afraid to wear Edo cloth. Why should an Edo man be afraid to wear an Edo cloth? Because one chief who might not even know the story, who might not even know whether he's right or wrong, is saying that you don't wear a red cap is a sacrilege. Sacrilege by what? I don't get. So these are some of the things some actions that some people, our elders, takes, that we don't know that is actually affecting the growth of our history and culture. And when some of us speaks against it, people pick offense. Why should you pick offense that there are no restrictions as to what you wear? The only restrictions I spoke about is the beads and some other elements of Benin dressing that has spirituality accompanied to it, which has nothing to do with clothes. All right. So all of those archaic views and primordial sentiment, we have to find a way of killing it. Anyway, I'm not saying anybody should kill it. I'm just saying that those things are not binding on me. It will never bind on me. All right. I've said it and I'll keep saying it. Those things are not binding on me, and it will never bind on me. In other words, but I feel expressively that because of the high-handedness of things that are not true, a lot of people are afraid to express their Beninness, because they have been told that it is a sacrilege, all right, to do this and not do that. Whereas it is not a sacrilege. And I have made my research about it. If it was, I'll still say, no, you shouldn't do that. All right, there are things that you know, oh, okay, you shouldn't have done that. But not when it comes to dressing. Dressing is one of the instruments to promote Edo culture. A lot of Edo people are afraid to wear Edo. I have a big brother of mine, all right, who we needed his photograph or something very cultural, something very traditional. He's a very proud Edo man. Then I asked him to send any of his traditional picture. He did not have one single one. And I was like, except near your marriage. And I asked him why. His views were that that would be an abomination. And I was like, how? I'm talking about a month ago. This thing is not even maybe slightly above a month, but not up to 2 months ago. that this event happened. And I was shocked. So he has been programmed to believe that him wearing an Edo cloth means I'm an abomination. Then how do we spread the culture if we're still holding on to some of these sentiments of expressing ourselves through our dress code? Our people gallantly and proudly wears Yoruba clothing. No wonder they say that they own us. All right, no wonder they say that they own us, because our people have put so much fear in our lives that we not think that whatever we do when it comes to portraying our culture might be an abomination, might be a sacrilege. So we are not comfortable wearing other people's clothing. We have to change that. We have to change that. I have to change that. Anyway, so well, it's life. I have to relax. It's stressful, and I thank all of you. So I'll see you guys next week Sunday. So I'm rounding up now. So make una leave that day. I know the guy now. It's always that's how he does. That's how he does. All right. So just let him be. Then I had forgotten before and I remember his name is familiar. All right. He's always saying, how do people always believe? I find it very difficult. The major reason why people say I don't contribute, I don't try to convince people. I don't try to convince people that much. I don't spend time. I don't spend time to convince people that much, is because how do a Yoruba person think that he has, as educated as a Zodua is, that he will have a video call or an argument with me, then I will not begin to see that the Obas of Benin are Yoruba, or if they cannot see that a Benin man was the one who established them, what makes them think that a Benin man like me will see that it was the Obas of Benin are Yoruba? So it is exercise in futility. Except we both have open minds. They don't have any open minds. Yet they want to force their ideas on us. It will not work. So the power that this Ade E. Richard is using his typing is an exercise in futility, and I don't think he should. Who is he now going to convince? He's going to write 20 pages or what to not convince his Oduwa or the educated Edo viewers that they are Yoruba people. So we should. That's why I know they get time. It's exercise in futility. It's either you believe in this or you don't believe in this, and that's how it is. So bang bang, I said bang. It's just a normal thing to look critically into. So thank Ekyo Giso Buruma Evae Aga Agero. You're not setting any fact. Okay. Maybe you guys can continue. We are the one who is setting the record straight, because you people have bastardized our history. You people have bastardized our history. We are the ones who is setting the history straight. All right, you people should clap for yourself. And I have to thank your ancestors who were very smart. All right, if our ancestors, generations before us, were equally as smart as your ancestor, the problem of history, of this debate that a lot of us are not having, would not have been having it. All right. So you have to be very thankful to your ancestors for the lies that they lied. So that's what we are trying to correct. So now no need to correct anything. And I don't lie already. Now we do the correction. Yeah, very bad. So now we do the correction. So why did they worry? Uh, all right. I think I'm rounding up now. So I thank all of you. I'll see you guys. I'll see you all next week Sunday by by 6:30. Yes. And when we try to change, and when we try to change, and when we try to change, which of our brothers said that? Okay, Jim, I think Mr. Jim already. So when we try to change our people, we are very proud to play Yoruba music. We are very proud to speak Yoruba language. We are very proud to wear Yoruba clothing. When we try to correct our people for doing that, you just see one man. If I talk now, they'll say, and they talk, but it gets to a point where we have to talk about some of these things. What rights do you have denying another Edo man for wearing what would have portrayed his Edo-ness? All right? What would have portrayed his Edo-ness? Why would you deny a man? He wears a red cap. There are no red cap chiefs in Benin. It's not like Yoruba that you have white cap chiefs, like in Lagos chieftaincy that you have white cap chiefs or have red cap chiefs. They're nothing like that. For the fact that some Enoge wears red caps does not mean that wearing red cap is exclusively for the Enige. If wearing red cap can make you feel good as an